All right. Well, we can go ahead and get started. I just want to thank everyone for coming today, joining us for our second office hour of the year. My name is Sarah Da Silva. I'm going to be hosting today along with Carrie Hillman and Diane Soleil. I am a member of the homeowner support team here at We Need a Vacation. I have been with WeNav for about 2.5 years now. And I will go ahead and let Carrie and Diane introduce themselves.
Hi, everybody. I'm Carrie Hillman, and I am also on the homeowner support team here at We Need a Vacation. And I've been working here for about 5 years, and I've been renting short-term rental vacation homes for about 10 years. And my house is in Orleans here on the Cape.
Hi, everyone. I'm Diane Soleil, and I am also on the homeowner support team. I have been with WeNav for about 4 years now, and I currently live in Dennis and also have I manage long-term rental properties off Cape and have been doing that for over 20 years. So welcome to our series.
Great. Well, thank you so much. So just a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. You might have noticed if your microphone was unmuted, I just went ahead and I muted you so that we can just make sure that we go ahead and get the presentation started without any interruptions. But if you have any questions, we do have the chat open. We do have somebody managing the chat. So feel free to put your questions in there. We also will have a Q&A after the presentation that you can feel free to unmute yourself and ask those questions then. So we will go ahead and get started. Today, we're going to be talking about preparing now so you can hopefully panic less in the middle of your busy vacation season, because our goal here at We Need a Vacation is to always try to save you some headaches later on by being able to help you now. So what we're going to be talking about today to prepare before summer arrives is utilizing booking management and the DocuSign system, adjusting your pricing in order to optimize your listing, building and scheduling your team, and then, as I mentioned, we will finish off with a question and answer. So I will let Carrie get away with talking about booking management.
Okay, great. Thanks, Sarah. So, one of the first things you can do to prepare now to avoid panic later is get all of your bookings into booking management. And if you're not familiar with booking management, it's just located right in your homeowner center. It's kind of on the right-hand side. And it's free to use. It's included with all of the subscription rates. So you can just head over there to check it out, click through and take a look at it. You can see this screenshot here on the slideshow that shows a quick overview of the booking management. And this is just showing the main list of all of the recorded bookings. If you were to click into each one of these, it shows a lot more detail. So you can kind of play around with that. So you can use it to track just simply your bookings, like tracking the exact dates of your bookings. As you can see in the screenshot, it says arrival date and departure date. You can use it to track when payments are due and when they've been received. You can even keep notes on the payments. So say like one time I had someone, the person who signed the lease, their daughter-in-law sent me a Zelle payment for the down payment for the rental week. And so she had a different name. So I just made a note of that, like Zelle payment, the exact date it came in, and the name of the person who did the Zelle payment, just so I can keep track of where all the payments are coming in and who's making them. And, details like that you can make note about. And then also you can just do general notes about each group. So like, say someone's in town for a wedding and maybe it's the family of the bride that's renting your house during the wedding time. That's an important detail to remember so that as you're interacting with the group during their stay, you can check in and just say, hey, how was the wedding? Or are you guys excited for the wedding? Or do you need anything else? Do you need any help from me? Whatever. And that can just help maintain your relationship with them. So keeping track of those details can be really helpful when summer rolls around because you've got all these, you can have up to 12 different rental parties in one summer. And so it's really helpful to track all that stuff now while it's fresh in your mind so that later down the road, you're not getting jumbled and confused. Booking management is also great to help with automated emails. So you can set up automated emails to go out for payment reminders and also pre-arrival or pre-departure emails to your rental party. So the payment reminders would just, remind them that there's a payment coming due. And then the pre-arrival email would be like an email that has like check-in information, the check-in times, maybe it has the door code or how to access the key, little details like that you can just set that up to send automatically to them so that you don't have to be thinking about sending it out to each of the different 12 rental parties that you have over the summer. And then the pre-departure email would have just like a little bit of information about their checkout. Of course, you still want to have that information in your welcome book, but it's nice to be able to set up that email to send automatically so you don't have to be thinking about it in the summer. Okay, so that was just like a few tips on how to use booking management to keep all of your information in one place and keep you organized when the summer rolls around. So next, we'll talk about DocuSign. So if we could go to the next slide there. Great, thank you, Sarah. So with DocuSign, this is going to really help you plan ahead and stay organized with keeping all of your leases in one place. And so I just am using DocuSign as the example, but you can use really any online signature platform. DocuSign just happens to be a popular one that's well known with vacationers and the general public, but I've used one that's called PandaDoc, and that's a free service. So there are some that are free, but it's easier to let a vacationer know the lease is coming through DocuSign. They know what that is. They know it's expected. When I was using PandaDoc, I just had to explain what it was. But anyway, so DocuSign makes things really easy for vacationers. So when they're signing the lease, they literally are just like clicking one button. It's so easy for them. Instead of having a lease mailed to them, they have to print it and sign it and scan it or mail it back. That's a lot of steps. But with DocuSign, you can send it to them and then get it back same day. So it really helps you stay organized because it's top of mind. You've sent it out. You're getting that lease signed right away. And then DocuSign is saving all those leases for you in the platform. And you can see on the screenshot here that this is the list of agreements that I've sent out, and then you can see that green check mark that they're all completed. So DocuSign tracks who has signed it and who still needs to sign it. So if one of my vacationers still needed to sign the lease, it would be noted right there that they still need to complete their portion. So, and then once everything's completed, DocuSign sends the following or the completed document to both parties or all parties that are signing it. So it's really helpful. And then because DocuSign also holds all of the completed documents, if I ever need to refer back to one or resend it to a vacationer, if they ask me to send it to them again, it's really easy to find it. It's right there. So yeah, that's DocuSign. And then next we're going to switch over to talking about how to assess your pricing now so that you can decide if you want to lower your pricing now so that you don't have to wait till the last minute and then offer a deeper discount. And that can result in a rushed or last minute booking, which is really best to try to avoid that situation if you can. So when we're on this topic of adjusting pricing, we're going to kind of talk about four major areas. So the first is what you're going to be considering. Second is kind of troubleshooting your listing before you really drop the price, just making sure your listing's in good shape. And then we can look at how to compare your listing on your own. So you'd be comparing it to other homeowners on our site just to kind of see what their pricing is. Or if you don't have time for that or you need help with it, you can request a professional paid service through us called a pricing consultation. And then that's where one of our staff will help you look over your listing, compare it to other listings on our site, and really get a professional opinion on what your pricing should be. So the first thing we're looking at here is with booking numbers. In 2026, we're seeing higher booking numbers coming in a little bit earlier in the year. And so if you're not seeing that, that's your first notice that you could consider adjusting your pricing. So if you're not seeing bookings coming in like you want them to be, that's a good sign to you to really take a close look at your pricing. So the first thing we're going to do is on the next slide here is we're going to troubleshoot your listing, kind of look at a few key areas of your listing to help you decide if it is the pricing that we want to look at. So the first thing that we're going to look at is views, and you can see this little screenshot here on the left-hand side of the slide. It shows at the bottom there, views since 4/17, and if your views are older like that, you can go ahead and reset that view count, that little blue button below, so you can really see what's happening like this week and next week and what your view count is. But some people like to have a more global view and see what it looks like over a year or two, how many views they're getting per day. But it's up to you. But if you're concerned that you're not getting the views you want, go ahead and click that reset view count so you can see how many views you're getting per day. And the views really can be a range anywhere from like 3 to 15 per day is fine. Some people get less than that, some people get more, but somewhere in that range is good. And then with inquiries, you want to also check out on your listing and see how many inquiries you're getting. So you can kind of look back, maybe starting from the fall, if you've been listed with us for the whole calendar year, you kind of want to look at how many you've gotten in the fall of last year for this coming summer. And then you can also look at January, February, March, kind of see how many you've gotten over that time. And you should be receiving a good amount of views, and then you should be receiving inquiries. And then from there, from those inquiries, you should be getting some bookings. And so if anywhere along that path, you're not seeing what you think you want to be seeing or what you saw last year, maybe, you can look closely at the inquiries that you received last year and compare last year to this year. Then you can figure out, like, maybe there is a disconnect somewhere. Maybe there's something you need to fix on your listing, or maybe it is your pricing that you need to adjust to make sure that those inquiries are turning into bookings. And one quick note about the inquiries this year, you might see slightly less inquiries this year because we have the new pricing model. So you're probably seeing less people are inquiring, saying, what's your total price? What's the whole price? What are all the costs included? Those kind of inquiries are down because vacationers can actually see that now. So that's nice for the vacationers because they don't have to send a whole bunch of inquiries wondering what the price is. They can look through listings on their own and really see what the full price is. Okay, so views, inquiries. Okay, and then tiered pricing, that's another piece of your listing that you can adjust now. And that means that your pricing is going to kind of look like a bell curve. So the middle of the summer is going to be your highest price that you're asking, with the beginning of summer and end of summer kind of on the lower end of your bell curve. So end of June, beginning of July is a little bit lower, then your price is going to spike up during the end of July, beginning of August, and then down again at the end of August. And this year, we're actually seeing the last 2 weeks of August are booking a little bit slower this year. And so maybe drop your price down a little bit more for those 2 weeks. Yeah, that's kind of just what we're seeing. So another thing on your listing that you can look at is the listing quality audit. And so this, again, is right in your homeowner center, and you just click into there, and it's going to give you some information about what you can adjust on your listing. And this is talking about the quality of your listing. It's not really like the quality of your house. So it's not going to, it's not looking at how fancy your couches are or how comfortable your beds are, but it's more like making sure that your listing is filled out to the best of your ability. So things like the calendar page, for example, it's easy to miss a piece of that, but the listing quality audit is going to catch it for you. So say you have a 5-night minimum stay, you have to also have a nightly pricing range in there. So if you forget to add the nightly pricing, the listing quality audit is going to flag that for you so that you can get back in and add that nightly pricing to make sure that your listing is fully filled out. And the goal here is to get a green smiley face on your listing quality audit. That's the best you can have. If you have an orange kind of flat face or a red frowny face, you really want to get in there and make sure you update everything that the listing quality audit is suggesting that you update. Because what's going to happen is when you have the green smiley, it pushes you to the top of the search results. And that's going to hopefully result in more inquiries and then more bookings. And so, speaking of search results, we are going to now move on to Diane, and she's going to go over a few more details for us about using the search feature to kind of decide if you need to adjust your pricing. So, she's going to help you look at the search feature as if you were a vacationer looking on our site, and then you can decide based on what the vacationer sees if you want to lower your prices at all so that you don't have to rush later and offer discounts. So, take it away, Diane.
Thanks, Carrie. That was really helpful information. So now, when you start to think about adjusting or reviewing your pricing, running a vacation search is a great way to see how your listing compares to the competition. So this is something that you should do pretty much several times throughout the year because listings are constantly changing their pricing. In fact, we just did a recent stat that showed about 3% of our homes have already adjusted their pricing. So you definitely want to take a look when you get a chance. And if you haven't had a chance to do this yet, what I'm going to do is talk you through a quick search and then we'll watch a short video. And then when you have some time or even after this meeting, go to weneedavacation.com, run a weekly search just like a vacationer would do for one of your open weeks. And you start by entering your town, the dates of that open week, the number of bedrooms, and just click go. And as you compare listings, you really want to keep an open mind because even, if your home is newly updated and you're looking at older, well-maintained homes with strong reviews, they're still your competition. So you really want to check their pricing and calendars. And, consistent bookings often come from good pricing, great photos, repeat renters, and listings that are on our platform year round, which lead to early bookings. And we always love to see that for sure. Just sets you up for success. And, there are just many factors with your listings that will contribute to that. So when you actually click into a listing, the updated contact host form will appear with price details for that week as shown on this slide here. So on the left, you're going to see the check-in and check-out dates along with weekly pricing and fees. You click price details on the right side. It will show you total price, including fees and taxes. So here's a quick tip too. So if you're viewing your own listing, you can copy the price details for a specific week and paste them directly into your email reply. And this is a big time saver. So then you don't have to, type in all of your fees and weekly rate and all of that, over in your email reply. Everything just gets done with a copy and paste. I would also suggest that if you're thinking about adjusting your price but aren't totally sure, you can try, maybe reducing one or two of your July weeks, see how it goes, see if you get, more inquiries doing that. So now actually we're just going to watch a quick video showing how to run a vacation or search so you can compare your home and keep your pricing competitive. So to start a search, you go to weneedavacation.com. We're searching in Orleans. So put in your town, put in your open week, put in the number of bedrooms. And you just want to start, let's say if you have 3 bedrooms, just start with 3 bedrooms. Change the 4 to a 3, click go, and see all the properties that show up. Over to the left is the map, and here is a great way to search. When the properties show up, you want to zoom in, and that really gives you a good idea for the homes that are surrounding your property. And those are the ones that you want to start with. You just want to, click into them, go through them. You can sort your price range from high to low. and then, start, um, trying to figure out which listing you want to click into. And then once you find a home that is of interest to you or looks similar, you click into that listing. And, as I mentioned in the previous side, take a look at that contact host form. It has the weekly pricing, additional pricing, and then again, you can click on that price details, which will spell it all out for you, your weekly rate, any fees that you have, also including your taxes. And that's what you can cut and paste and pop it when it's your listing, of course, and pop it into your email reply to a vacationer. Also, take a look at the number of years if that the homeowner has been on our site. Carrie's been with us over 8 years, and we love that, Carrie. Um, Also, take a look at the pricing and availability. So the gray indicates it's all booked, and the blue indicates that it's an open week. And, obviously she's off to a great start, and that is a great way to do your vacation or search. And then if you are, you know, if you follow through on those steps and you're really still unsure about pricing or just don't have the time to do your own pricing analysis, we do offer a paid pricing consultation. And this is a detailed review of your listing and comparable properties. We go through your listing quality audit thoroughly, and we compare your home to similar homes with a deep dive in the market. It's super valuable and great knowledge. And from there, we'll suggest tiered pricing for your home and for the entire calendar year. So that includes spring, summer, and fall. So you'll have, guidance pretty much for every season. If this is something you're interested in, you can book a consultation by emailing support@weneedavacation.com and asking for a pricing consultation. And Becky or a member of our homeowner team will get back to you with a quote. And it's really, you know, we're here to help any way we can. We're obviously vested in your success. And that's a wrap on the pricing. We'll go off to Sarah, who will discuss scheduling the important stuff.
Thank you so much, Diane. So one of the key factors of getting everything set up for a busy summer season is building your team. So you have us at We Need a Vacation helping manage your listing on our site, but then you also have to have the boots on the ground people that are helping manage your home, your cleaners, trash people, lawn care and landscaping, an on-call handyman, pest control, and your heat and AC. These are all really important to make sure that you're taking the time now in the spring season to be set up for success, most importantly in the summer months, but really year round. Spring is a perfect time to make those yearly maintenance appointments. We live in New England, obviously. These critters really love to find their way into the homes when it's cold out, especially if your rental home isn't occupied during the winter. So, having a maintenance plan with a pest control company that will come in and do, quarterly maintenance, and hopefully you never need them on demand, but if you do, having that set up for quarterly maintenance is really important. Also, having your summer schedule set up now so that when the time comes and you are ready for your weekly turnovers, you have your cleaners, have a conversation with them now. Make sure that you have those turnover days set in stone. You have expectations of what they're going to do. So when the renters come in, everything is pristine and ready to go. That's the interior of the property. Make sure the exterior with your landscapers and your trash removal are also on a regular schedule. So it's taken care of. The renters aren't having to deal with it. The trash is picked up. The lawn has been mowed. When you are reaching out to your yearly maintenance, heating and air conditioning, which I had in the last slide. That's also another very important one to have as either an annual, semi-annual, or even quarterly maintenance. The last thing you want is in the middle of the July heat wave when it's 90 something percent humidity, having the AC kick out and you don't have an established maintenance plan with a vendor in the area. And then you're put at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to needing emergency services. If you already have a maintenance plan with them and something happens, you're most likely able to get a same day or a very close in time frame appointment with that person, and then you can relay that to your renters. Stuff happens. Vacationers understand that these things happen at their house, but knowing that they're going to be taken care of and you're not scrambling to try to find somebody in the middle of July when everyone's going through a brownout, if we're in the middle of a heat wave, that just speaks volumes to your renters and they understand that things like that happen. So, and then, I know we're thinking spring, we're thinking summer, but as I'll get into in another couple of slides, if winter has taught us anything this winter, it's to make sure that we have winter maintenance in place. So just make that checklist now and start focusing on spring and summer, but rehash that list, in August, September, and start planning for winter too. Okay. We have a great list on our website. If you're not sure who to call, maybe you've had vendors for years and they're retiring or they're going out of business, or maybe you're new to the vacation rental market here on the Cape. We've provided a resource for you right on our website. It's the Home Services Directory. So when you're on our site, if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see a link right to this Home Services Directory. This is suggestions that have come to us for local businesses right from homeowners like you. And so we do audit this list semi-annually. We're adding people every day. We're also removing people as we've been made notified that they've gone out of business. But this is a great resource. It's broken down by category, also by area for you to be able to find your trusted source. And then, with this list, just a reminder, this is just a list. Okay. So be sure that these people work for you and for your needs. Have those conversations with the businesses. Be sure to do your own due diligence by reading the reviews of the businesses. If you've had a great experience with a business you see on here, there is an opportunity to be able to write a review right on here, because we want to continue to provide great experiences other homeowners, and we're all a community here. So this is really a really great piece of the website to utilize. And if you have a business that you'd like to refer over, feel free to send it into support at We Need a Vacation, and I'm happy to reach out to those businesses about having them added onto our home services directory. As I mentioned a few moments ago, if this winter has taught us anything, it's to be prepared, right? We have had quite the winter here on the Cape, and we know that storms can come at any time and in all shapes and sizes. So whether it be a winter storm, or spring heavy rain and wind, and then leading right into hurricane season, you just want to be prepared. Making sure that if your house has a whole house generator, you've got that maintained and maintenance done on it. Make sure you've got battery backups in place. That maintenance plan we were talking about before, make sure you're having a conversation with your handyman or your landscaper, that there's a cleanup plan in place. Maybe your house never lost power, so you think you're good, but then the renters come to check in and there's a tree limb across the driveway, or the trash can is in the middle of the yard with trash debris everywhere. Having that cleanup plan in place is really important to just help make this transition after a storm that can come out of nowhere nice and seamless, and your vacationers are none the wiser. Okay. if you are not a local homeowner on the Cape, if you are not boots on the ground, it's really important to have a local eye to just check in on your property. Hey, you know what, Carrie, everything looks good at your Orleans property. I drove by, everything looks good. You should be fine. And making sure that you maintain those renter relationships for when you do need on-demand services. So when you call them, you can be at the top of the list instead of being at the bottom of the barrel. Um, and the last thing I wanted to cover is insurance coverage. It's not something that you think about until you need it. It's a really good time to just review your insurance coverage, make sure that you have enough on there to cover any potential damages so that you can continue renting your home for years to come and you're not saddled with a big bill that you weren't planning on. So just another thing in your spring maintenance checklist, make sure the insurance company is on there as well so that you don't run into any surprises. All right. So we will go ahead. That's the end of our presentation, but we would love to open it up for some Q&A. If you have any that you would like to have us address.
So, Sarah, actually, a good one came in during the registration process. People can submit a question, and someone was asking, they're trying to move to everything being done digitally, so leases and payments. However, because they are not tied together, they're seeing them come in at different times, and they're just wondering, sometimes they get a lease agreement right away, but then it takes a while for the deposit to come in. So they're wondering how to manage that. So one thing you could do is write into the lease agreement the exact date that the deposit is due, and maybe give them 1 week to pull that together. So maybe they have to mail you a check, or maybe they have to communicate with other people in the rental party and collect the money, and then they're going to send you a Venmo or a Zelle. And sometimes Venmo and Zelle have amount limits, so they can only send $500 a day or $1,000 a day or whatever the case may be, or $500 per payment. So they just have to do multiple payments. So um, I would just, yeah, give them a little bit of wiggle room on that. So maybe just set that due date for the payment to be 1 week from when you have the lease signed or something along those lines. Okay, and then I don't think we have any other questions that came in during chat that we haven't answered. Just there were a couple questions about the the reminder that the free application I mentioned earlier is called PandaDoc, but we do have there are a number of free options just out on the internet that you could use. However, DocuSign is really well known, so that might be a better way to go. The DocuSign that I use is only $10 a month. That's the lowest rate, and then you get 5 documents that you can send out per month. So spaced over the year with all the leases coming in at different times a year, that seems to work pretty well. And then, okay, someone's asking for a tip on identifying a handyman. So you could call our office to see if we have any other connections, but usually everything is listed on that part of our website that has all the services, the homeowner services. Okay, we've got some good questions coming in from Jackie here. So I don't have those percentages of how many properties are booked as of March 1st and what percentage of those properties are booked. Just generally, it's that there are more bookings than we've seen in the past, but in general, I would say the bookings kind of come in. You might get a couple in the fall for the following year. Definitely around the new year, we see a lot of inquiries flying around, and that's when a bunch of bookings are going to happen as the real planners are planning their vacations for the summer. And these are also people who are typically renting a larger house are going to be booking around that time of year, just because they have a bigger rental party to handle and they need to be more organized to get the right size house. And then Um, you'll see the smaller houses and also, yeah, the smaller houses, less bedrooms, like 1 to 3 bedrooms, are going to be booking a little bit later in the season. But really, by March, everybody should have some bookings if you've been listed year round. Now, if you have not been listed year round, that's a different story. So, say you just listed in February, then, your bookings are going to come in on a little bit of a different schedule. But you definitely want to get some bookings in at the beginning of the year. And, it's not the end of the world if you do a few last minute bookings in June. That definitely happens, and people definitely wait until June, or sometimes they even wait until July to book something for August. And those people are often looking for a deeper discount. They're going to be shopping around for a deal, and their booking process will be a little bit more rushed. So that's where the electronic signature and the electronic payment are going to be really helpful to get those bookings squared away.
Uh,
Um,
Carrie, Norma Jean was just asking about the DocuSign pricing model, the $10. Is
mhm.
it monthly, like year round? Can you like start and stop a subscription? How does that work for you with your $10 a month?
I'm pretty sure I pay 120 a year, and then it runs for a year. I'm pretty sure. But if you go to DocuSign.com, it will tell you all the different options for you, and how the payments work. Um,
Nancy was curious about how much of a discount would you recommend giving for a longer rental, about 3 to 4 weeks stay?
So, I mean, that totally depends. Some people don't offer any discounts for longer stays in the summer because, they know that they're going to get that price if they rent it weekly. Some people offer a slight discount, based on what they're saving on the cleaning fee, although we still really recommend getting your cleaners in once a week, even if it's just a quick cleanup. You don't really want your house rented for longer than 2 weeks without a cleaner being in there. And again, it's totally up to you, whatever you want to do. But for your cleaner's sanity, if they can go in every week, they can maintain the cleanliness level. If they have to go in after a 3 week stay and do the full clean for that whole 3 weeks, it can be a big job and it can take them a lot longer and be hard to fit into their schedule. Um, so that being said, you can, discount based on, like, maybe your cleaners come in and they only do half of the cleaning time that they would normally do to do a full turnover. So on whatever you're saving on that cleaning fee, you can offer that discount. Or some people, would prefer to have one renter in there for 2 or 3 weeks, and it's easier, it's less people to deal with, and only one lease agreement. And so then, you could offer whatever rate you want for a discount. We don't really have a set rate that we suggest because, again, like, some people don't offer any discount because they know they're going to book those weeks out at full price if it was just weekly. Um, so yeah, it's really up to you to make that choice if you would prefer to have people in there for longer. One thing to consider is, though, the longer people are in your home, the more comfortable they get, and then the more nitpicky they seem to get sometimes. Sometimes people, if they're staying for a week, it doesn't really matter if the dryer's not working great because they're only there for a week and they only have to dry one load of towels, and maybe it took a little longer. But if they're there for 3 weeks and the dryer's not really working great, and one of those weeks is really rainy, that adds up, and then they tend to be more critical of little issues that are happening at the house.
Mhm. Hey,
One
Karen.
thing I wanted to just jump in really fast. I'm putting it in the chat now. Just to add to your maintenance plan for the springtime, I want to make sure I didn't forget about this. Look at this link and just double check about the town registration fees for registering a short-term rental. Make sure that some towns are starting to add registration fees where they hadn't in previous years, and requiring you to pay a fee to register your short-term rental. So I just put that link in there. I just wanted to make sure we didn't forget to add that into there. So just take a look at that and add that to your maintenance plan.
Mhm. And just a reminder in regards to summer weeks, if they do rent over 31 days, they're actually getting a discount because they're not going to pay their lodging tax. So that does a great help for them
That's a good
as
point. Yeah, if it's over what is it, 32
31.
days, 31 days? Okay. Then they don't have to pay the lodging tax, which is a big break
Mhm.
for them. All right, let's see what else came in the chat here. Okay, I do see someone mention that they're not getting the bookings or the inquiries that they want this year. And, if that's happening to you, definitely feel free to give us a call and we can do a one-on-one support for you and just look through your listing with you and look at your pricing. It's not a problem at all.
And if anyone would like to, if you're more comfortable unmuting and asking a question, feel free to do so. Or you can still put it in the chat, whatever you're most comfortable with.
Oh, and the best phone number for us. So if you call Sarah just put it in. If you call that main support line, there are a bunch of us that are on rotation. So it just rings through all of us, and a number of us will answer the phone if you call that number.
Eric, can I just mention that we were discussing a little while ago the um, pricing analysis, and just as a reminder, it can be done either remotely or in person. And um, often, an in-person visit is terrific because we can see the house and the setting um, and really get a very good idea of what your house might be able to get for rental. Um, and at the same time, there are times when we'll set up a visit, and it's often Becky Fisher who does this. Um, she'll set up a visit, and if someone is not doing well with their bookings, she suggests that they have new pictures. So often pictures enter into the pricing and make an enormous difference. So those of you who have been on our site for a long time already are well aware of that. But these days the competition is so stiff, and new people coming on have excellent pictures normally. So it does increase the competition.
All right. So, and Sarah, were there any other questions that came in maybe from when people were signing up for the office hour? Let me take a look.
Um, we covered everything that is, more of a general question that would cover the whole group. There are a few questions that did come in that are more property specific. So if there is a question like that that you did submit prior to um, today, when you definitely a member of our team will be reaching out to you about answering those for you.
Oh, and there was one question that someone had submitted at registration about linens. They were wondering how to keep track of linens with the cleaning people. And that kind of brought to mind a bigger issue is that, yes, tracking linens is important. And if you really want, you can number the different sets of linens, but storing them together, like two pillowcases, top sheet, bottom sheet, can be helpful to keep you organized. You could number all those, like set one, set two, whatever. and then have the cleaners count them when they come back. But sometimes you'll find a pillowcase under a bed later, or you find the top sheet stuffed into the beach bag. And it's not that the vacationer stole it, they just like put it somewhere and you just don't find it right away on that turnover day. But it brings to issue a bigger, or brings to mind a bigger issue is just having backups of everything. You want to make sure you have extra sheets so that you're not running out in the middle of the season and then scrambling to try to buy some sheets from somewhere on Cape Cod. And then other things to think about having backups would be like your coffee carafe for your coffee maker. That's a good thing to have a backup of because it's not easy to just buy that at a store on a turnover day. If you have to replace it, you probably have to order it online. And making sure, you just have enough of everything that the renters are expecting to have while they're there. Have a backup of all those items, so that you're not having to say to your new vacationer who's moving in that day, "Oh, I'm sorry, this thing is broken," or "We didn't have enough sheets, but we'll get you an extra set of sheets coming up, tomorrow." So just make sure you've got, backups of what you need so you're not scrambling later. It's good to be prepared in that way.
Um, Hires had a great question. And I know you've had experience with this at your home. We hired a lawn service, and I'm hoping he will come um, after checkout and before arrival. However, weather does not always allow it. Is it okay to have the lawn mowed during the next person's stay?
Yes, it's totally fine to have the lawn mowed during the vacationer's stay because, the lawnmowers can't mow everybody's lawn on Saturday between 10 and 3. Um, so like my mowers come on a Wednesday. So I just make sure the vacationers know they're coming on Wednesday, approximately what time they come. And then I ask that they just have all the toys cleaned up out of the yard during that time frame. And then once in a while, I'll have a vacationer say, "Oh, that's when my baby is napping. Can we do a different time?" And then I just work with the lawnmower company to find a different time that works. So, definitely it's fine to have them come during the week, but just make sure that you tell them the day that they'll be there so that they're prepared.
I know we kind of addressed this a little bit, but how do you handle missing items? Like she said, we say, supply expensive top of line linens. If items are missing, how do you ask renter to return or charge?
Um, I mean, unless you're having a major problem where linens are going missing every week, I mean, like once in a while, I think by the end of the season, I realize that there's one piece that's missing, and then I just replace it. Either I get a matching similar type linen, like maybe the same color, if it's white, that matches, or sometimes if the type of linens you buy, you can buy the different parts separately, you just replace it. And it's sort of just an expected thing. Once in a while, you lose some of the linens, but that doesn't happen to me very often. More often, it's like it got folded and stuffed into the linen closet. And when I'm sorting through and putting all the sets back together, that's when I'll find it. But things like wine glasses or a plate, I just reorder one that matches my set, and I don't ask someone to pay the $10 or $15 for the replaced item because it's just sort of happens. Like something breaks with every rental group, and it's, a lot of it you just kind of roll with the punches and you say, "Oh, no problem, don't worry about the wine glass. Thank you so much for letting me know, though. I really appreciate it." And I do actually ask vacationers directly, "Is there anything that broke or needs to be repaired so that I can make sure that's taken care of before the next rental party comes in?" And people will fess up usually at that point. But, of course, at the end of the season, you always find something that was kind of hidden or broken and you didn't realize it and you don't know who it was. So there's no way to track that down. So you just kind of roll that into your general cost of operating. Um, if something is very specific, like once someone told me that they broke the toaster, and I don't even know how they broke it, but I said, "Okay, no problem." And they said, "You can," they told me, they said, "You can take it out of the security." And so I did, but they could have just put it into the cabinet and I would have known, and maybe the next renter didn't use it. And then the next renter who found it said it was broken. So it's like you can't charge that renter because someone else broke it. So I don't know. It's tricky. But the best is to just try to have a direct conversation with them, find out if it was broken, if they found it broken, or if they were the ones that broke it. And you just have to trust your vacationers and hope that you've built a good relationship with them, so they'll be honest with you. And then if they do admit to breaking it, then you say, okay, I'll take that out of the security deposit. Or if it's not that expensive, you can just say, don't worry about it. This stuff kind of stuff happens. And that kind of good spirit can go a long ways to getting a good return renter who maybe just accidentally broke a wine glass and so.
Absolutely. One thing I think it's just worth mentioning again, I know Carrie, you and Diane both touched on it, but we just wanted to bring up the transparent pricing again, and just ask if you guys have noticed a difference. I know that ghosting used to happen from time to time because people would write in and ask, what's your total price? And then you would send it over, and then they would realize that the home is beyond their budget. So while you might not see as many inquiries coming through, in particular on your property, just curious if you were experiencing a lot of that in the past of people asking what the price is. And now they're seeing that transparent pricing. So we're just curious how that's going for everybody.
Are you just asking me directly? You want to, are you
Oh, no, I'm
answering?
sorry. I was putting it out to everybody.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yep, just wanted, and I mean, but Carrie, you are a homeowner listed on our site, so feel free to give your insight as well.
I mean, I will say I haven't gotten any inquiries this year that say, what's the price or what's the total price. Nobody has asked me that. And usually I've gotten a few of those in the past. So that's exciting, and that hopefully is helping vacationers to be able to do that research on their own without bothering the homeowner to be summing everything up for them. Um, so so there's that piece. That's nice.
And also just a reminder that when you do get an email inquiry, if they do provide a phone number and you respond and you don't hear back from them for some reason, always just send a quick text or give them a call and just say, oh, I just want to make sure that you received my response. Are you still interested in renting for that week? Because it could end up based on their settings, for their email, the privacy settings, it could end up in their junk folder. So you just want to, dot your I's and cross your T's and make sure that you are following up on those inquiries as best as possible.
Yeah, definitely. And also some people just don't respond. Like maybe they've messaged 10 homes and they're really focused on the one home that got back to them, and they just don't reply to everyone. But I think the best thing you can do is what Diane said, is really try to follow up with them, have a really friendly, inviting, welcoming response message. Instead of writing back, it's 4,400 for the week. You can write back, oh, wow, it sounds like a really fun vacation you're planning with your family. That's so exciting. I'm so glad that you come to Orleans every year. We love it too. Please let me know if you have any questions about the house. Just something warm and inviting and friendly. And especially if you send them a similarly inviting, friendly text message follow up, like say you don't hear back from the email correspondence, send them a text message, and if they've supplied their phone number, and just a friendly, nice little reminder like, hi, this is Carrie with the house in Orleans, and I was just checking in to see if you were still interested in renting that week. It's available, and I'd love to give you more information. So maybe they're already corresponding with another owner, and that owner is taking a long time for the back and forth, and they're not being very friendly, and then they get this friendly text message from you. They might just switch and decide to rent your house instead if they feel like they're getting quick and friendly responses from you. So yeah. Someone just asked about offering more pictures. So you can add more pictures to your listing at any time. It's $10 a picture for the length of your subscription time. And so, yeah, you can do that on the website, or you can give us a call and we can help you out. And you can add as many extra photos as you'd like. And then also, some people do, if a vacation requests extra photos, you can send those to them privately as well. Once you get going with the interaction, that's always another option too. But yeah, at any time you can add more photos. That's no problem at all. Oh,
And one thing I did want to mention while we're getting to the top of the hour, we still have about 4 minutes left to take any questions. But we would love if you would help us out a little bit. And if you have time, head on over to Google and look up We Need a Vacation and write us a Google review, because while we are always, driving, reminding you how important it is to drive reviews to your listing, it's also very important for us as a local Cape business to drive reviews to our business as well. So if you're able to write us a Google review, that would be so incredibly helpful, and we're so appreciative of that.
and another couple announcements for the end of the call here. Sarah mentioned this earlier, but if your question was specific to your home or we didn't get a chance to answer it, we'll follow up with you. Or if you don't hear from us, definitely feel free to get in touch with us for more details on a follow-up. Also, if you know any other homeowners and you refer them to our site and they list with us, then you get to add some free subscription time to your listing. So it's a nice bonus for you. And then this meeting is being recorded. So if you want to go back and revisit any of this information at any point, it will be posted to the sign up page where all the other recordings for our meetings are posted as well. So that'll take a day or two before it goes up, but it will be there if you want to go back and refer to anything. All right.
Thank
Well,
you so much for joining us today, everybody.